Big series this week here in Fayetteville. Arkansas going to play OU at Baum Walker Stadium. Series begins tomorrow, Friday, 6 o'clock first pitch. Arkansas ranked number 18 this week in the coaches poll. OU ranked number 21. We got Bubba Carpenter here in studio. We'll talk about it. I want to tell you that today's baseball podcast brought to you by H&R Tire and Auto. They're a third-generation family-owned business serving Northwest Arkansas since 1976. Just like great baseball programs, H&R is built on consistency, trust, and doing things the right way. No shortcuts and no gimmicks at H&R Tire and Auto. Also brought to you by Eggland's Best. When it comes to your game day, you want the best in your lineup. That includes your eggs. Eggland's Best delivers more of the nutrition you need with 6 times more vitamin D and 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. You can score now with Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com for more information. We're also brought to you by Southern Loft. They believe that your home should reflect your unique personality. That's why they offer a wide variety of stylish furniture pieces that are perfect for any taste. Whether you're looking for a new sofa for the living room, a sleek dining table for your kitchen, they've got just what you need. When you're looking for that piece of furniture that reflects you, visit Southern Loft at 3155 North College Avenue in Fayetteville or call 479-856-6100. You got a game tonight, Bubba?
Nope,
Like
no
any
game.
no youth league games, anything like that?
Nope, no games.
I am on the clock tonight. So my son is 8. He plays coach pitch, and the coaches are gone. Both coaches are gone tonight. So I have to throw to the kids.
Good
I'm
luck.
a little nervous about it. It's really not that far of a throw, but it's like you're responsible. I can't throw them sliders. We got to get on base because we give up about 6 runs in hitting. So we got to, we got to get hits.
Okay, I got to tell you a quick story. I don't want to bore people with this. When my son was 7, our very first game was in the fall. We were playing out at Sports Park in Farmington. And I was the one that was going to pitch to him. And I throw to kids all day. So, I throw BP all the time. I get out there on the mound inside that and there's a little circle you have to stay within. And I start to throw, and those little 7-year-olds look so tiny. And my little booty puckered up. And I was trying so hard. I'm sweating. I was more nervous than I was in a major league ballpark on that little 7U field.
Because you can't get on your knee.
You can't.
You got to stand and throw it to them.
And you're trying so hard to hit their bats.
Yes.
And so the first couple innings, I was horrible. I'm like bouncing it, like throwing it, almost hitting them. And then once I got on a roll, though, I hate to. You're gonna be scared to death tonight. But it was crazy. I told my wife, I said I was never that nervous on a baseball field playing than I was trying to throw to them. But then I got better at it, and I learned to hit their barrels, and we scored our limit every inning. But yeah, there for a while. That first game was horrible. So
I'm
good
gonna
luck.
have first inning jitters tonight.
Yeah, good luck. I wish I could come watch. Yeah. I'd drag you from the stands.
Come out. 7:30.
You're going to be striking them all
7:30
out.
first pitch.
Your neck's going to bow up.
Yeah.
You're going to be like Hunter Dietz out there on the mound carving them up.
We had a game last night. It was really bad. We had 8 kids. A bunch of them didn't show up. The other team had like 11 or 12 of them. Yeah, so like they're reinforced in the outfield. We're playing like somebody in left center and somebody in right center, and I'm shifting them every time based on if the kid's left-handed or right-handed, just trying to shade them to pull a little bit. There were 3 little league home runs, I think, in the first 4 at bats. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was a rough night for our boys.
You need DVH to come out and help coach.
Yeah, we do. Maybe bring out a couple of players to play outfield for us too. That would be that would help.
No, it's crazy though how nervous you get. Like when you strike a kid out, you feel bad about it. Like you strike a 7-year-old out, and you're like, gosh, my bad. I want to look it over to the parents and say, hey, I'm sorry. I'll hit his bat next time.
I'll come in tomorrow and let you know how many strikeouts I had tonight.
I'm gonna send someone out there to video.
I hope it's less than 1.
Yeah,
to
good
be
luck.
honest with you. All right, so Arkansas and OU this weekend. OU, they are a team that, and we had Kendall Rogers on the show yesterday, and he was talking about how you look at an Oklahoma line score, and it'll be like 1-1-0, 2-1-0, 1-1-1. And I was thinking about that old phrase, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
And, like they'll get a base runner, they might bunt him over, they might steal, they might, sack bunt to third, ground out to third, whatever, sack fly, and then all of a sudden, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it accumulates really fast. And before you know it, you might be down 3-1 after the third inning. It feels like this is a weekend for Arkansas where, number one, holding base runners is going to be really key for them. And then number two, like this is a key every weekend in every game, but keeping that leadoff man off base, that feels like that's going to be like extra important with a team like OU who can run the way they can.
Yeah, I think so. But I think our staff does a good job of holding runners, and I think we got the best catcher in the nation. So I think Helfrich behind the plate. I want to say might have been Tom Murphy's article.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about creating chaos.
Yeah, that's what OU says. I mean, I think they call it like chaos offense or chaotic offense or something like that.
And I want to say that it was Tom's article that said that we have the fewest steals attempts against us than any team in the conference. Now, I think that's what it said. Anyway.
Of course, Arkansas hasn't played the two teams. Like, they're going to play the two teams the next 2 weeks, OU and Kentucky, who steal the most. And so that might bring that number up a little bit.
But I feel like Helfrich's a great equalizer, plus the fact that our pitchers do a pretty good job of holding runners on. I know Tate McGuire had a game where he was slow to the plate. They stole a couple times and got him out of the game. But I think for the most part, our guys do a pretty good job. I think Hobbs does a pretty good job of getting the ball to the plate, giving Helfrich a chance. You know, one thing you don't see a lot in college, you don't see a lot of guys slide stepping. Like, you used to see a lot more slide steps, and you just don't see that much anymore.
You have seen that a little bit with Dietz, though, this year. Like I've seen that a three times with him in the last few weeks.
I know watching back in the day, watching Andy Pettit pitch, he would mix in slide steps all the time. He had a really good pickoff move. And I was actually talking to Trey Holloway, a former Razorback pitcher, about it a couple nights ago at the facility. We're working with a lefty trying to get his move because his move's terrible. And he was talking about the approach of Andy Pettit, how he did it. But Andy used to slide step a lot. One of his best pitches was a slide step changeup. You know, but I don't know. It's crazy. I guess the analytics say that you lose a little bit on your fastball, maybe you lose location, so therefore it's probably not good. For whatever reason, you don't see a lot of guys slide stepping.
For people who aren't aware of what a slide step is, explain that to them versus a regular delivery from a pitcher.
Well, when a pitcher comes set, normal delivery, he lifts his leg up and he goes home to the plate. On a slide step, you come set, you hold the ball, and then you don't lift your leg up. You slide straight towards home plate. So there's no leg lift. You get the ball to the plate. Let's say if you're a 1-3-5 guy, when you lift your leg up, if you slide step, you're going to be a 1-1, and no one's going to steal on you. It's hard to steal when a dude's a 1-1 to the plate. So you just don't see it a lot. Like I said, I'm sure there's a reason why. I'd like to ask Matt Hobbs about it. There's got to be a reason why, and I'm sure it comes down to maybe stress on the arm, possibly because the body's moving faster, the arm can't catch up, or possibly location, loss of velo. I don't know. There's got to be a reason, though.
I can see where location would be problematic with it, just because it's outside of your normal routine.
Yeah, it could be. But I know, like, when I coach, like even showcase ball, like, I use slide step as another pitch, because if you've got a fastball, then you've got a slide step fastball. That's actually two pitches because it's two different timings, especially if you got a dude that's got a leg kick, got a lot of movement. You can slide step fastball and throw it by him. So if you've got three pitches, you actually have six when you add the slide step to it.
So
it's all timing.
1-1 is quick to the plate. 1-3 is fairly decent.
1-3's average.
Okay. When
When you start getting up 1-3-5, 1-4, like if you're a 1-4 to the plate, we're going to steal on you.
Okay.
If you're 1-4-5, I know Ole Miss had one guy that was 1-3-5 to 1-4-5. As soon as we got on base, we stole. Can't remember his name. Dang it, I wish I knew his name. But anyway, that's something that they know. And I'll tell you what, our staff does a great job of knowing who's quick to the plate, who's slow to the plate. Because when they get a dude that's slow to the plate, they don't mess around. They go first pitch. They don't care.
Was it Rabe? Was it the Sunday starter? Because, Ruiz got on base and he stole the first pitch.
You know what? It might have been Rabe, yeah. But they know ahead of time who holds runners and who doesn't. And so they take advantage of it, and I like it. And I think Dave even referred in one of his post-game press conferences about, look, we don't steal. It's not like seeing how many bases you can steal. It's when you steal that's important. And I think they do a good job of, first of all, picking the right pitch. You want to try to pick, ideally you want to pick a slider off-speed pitch to steal on. So we know if it's a 1-2 count, a lot of times we know what's coming. Or if a guy throws a slider, we know, okay, how many times does he double up on the slider? Is he going to come back and throw another slider? Or is this going to be a fastball count and then he goes fastball then to the slider? I mean, the numbers that we have, or I say they have on opposing pitchers, it's crazy. Just the specific. I was trying to say specificity. Specific.
Specificity.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
I'm surprised I got that out so quick.
That's a hard word to say.
Hey, work that into the baseball broadcast tomorrow night.
What's that?
Work that word into work it into the baseball.
I'll have to practice that a little bit with specificity. I got it down. But just what they know about the opposing pitcher, and I don't know. I'm so intrigued by it. That's why I just freaking love baseball, because it's a game within a game. When you step up to the plate, they know what we know what they know, and so it's a battle back and forth. I think is awesome.
It's like I said it the other day. It's like a chess match.
Yeah, it really is.
I sent you that video last night of where Framber Valdez was having, the Red Sox were stealing his grip.
Yeah,
and they were motioning to the batter.
Yeah,
what his grip was. It's and Eric Hosmer, who's got a great breakdown on social media about it. This is a guy who's been in the game a long time. He knows exactly what he's looking for right there. Those are subtle little things that if you've never played baseball, or maybe you're just new to the sport watching it, like, you're never going to pick up on that type of stuff.
Right. But if you do, I mean, if you know baseball, it's fun to watch stuff like that, because that's that little game within a game. Now it's different now that you don't give signs. Back when you used to give signs, I know one team that won a lot of World Series there in a certain time span because they were so good at relaying pitches. You always knew what was coming, and they were really good at it. And they trusted each other. You got to trust the dude at second. I know back in the day, Doug Clark, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but there were a lot of times Doug Clark thought he had the other team's signs, but he would miss. So he would tell us it's going to be a breaking ball, and the dude would throw a fastball by you, and you strike out, or you whatever. And so once you lose trust, like after it got to a point where I didn't want to know. Just don't tell me. Listen, I'll see it. I trust my eyes. But yeah, that was a cool breakdown. But it's a little thing, Matt, like lefties. Every lefty tips his pickoff. You just got to figure out what it is. A lot of pitchers tip. They're off speed, whatever they're doing. I don't know. There's so many neat things about baseball when you really start to watch. Whether a guy's here or here or here. Or here for fastball, here for breaking ball. A lot of guys their hands are more rolled like this for a breaking ball. They're more here for a fastball. And it might just be a half inch, but you see that. You learn to see that, and you can pick stuff out. It's pretty cool.
Talking about lefties, by the way, in their pickoff moves, there was some talk at the Swatters Club earlier this week about our left-handers getting away with balks.
Oh, Elliott.
Like on a higher level.
I thought Hunter Elliott balked every time he went to the plate, or every time he picked. To me, it looked like a balk. But they don't call it really anymore. It's crazy. And every time, as soon as he would do it, I'd look at the first base umpire, and he's looking right at him, and he never, I don't know, from the booth, it looked like a balk. And everyone says there's a 45 degrees. Well, there's really not a 45-degree rule. Everyone always says that. I forget the official, how it's the verbiage, for what a balk is from a lefty, or from a pitcher in general. But yeah, I thought he balked a lot.
What about Walker Hooks? Because people were wanting a balk called on him whenever he was picking in the ninth inning.
I thought he did too. I thought they both did. Walker was probably worse. He's a bigger body, so when you're a bigger body, it's hard to kind of hide what you're doing. I thought they both did. So. And that's not even looking through my Razorback goggles. That's just me as a baseball person looking out there saying, I think he's pushing the limit right there.
The balk is one of those where, I've watched so many baseball games, and it's like, I can't tell you what a balk is. And maybe it's because it's just not officiated very well. But, like, if somebody balks, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure they did. Or if they didn't, okay, yeah, whatever. It's just, it's so, I don't know. It's almost, and it probably shouldn't be, but it really feels like it's down to interpretation.
Yeah. No, it really is. And I think every umpire looks at it different. And I would assume that probably DVH probably went to the umpire before the game and said, "Hey, you got to keep an eye on this guy. You know, he balks. He's got a balk move, or someone did. You know, I don't know. It could have been Hudson Polk at first base. Say, hey, watch this guy. He balks when he picks. A lot of times if you plant a seed, I do it when we're facing a team that has a lefty. I'll go to the umpire before the game and say, hey, watch this guy because he's got a balk move. And a lot of times you'll get the call.
You know who won't balk? Me and Coach Pitch. Not
You won't
balking.
balk?
No pickoffs.
Because no one's going to get on base. You're going to carve them up.
I guess I'm not trying to pick off my own team, am I? That's a little weird. That's one thing you never think about. We had Kendall on yesterday, and he talked about he actually thinks Arkansas's got a chance to host still. Basically, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think the gist of it was they're not totally out of the conversation, but they're going to need some help. And then obviously they got to win games. I mean, that's the thing I keep telling people too when I keep getting asked about if Arkansas is going to host or not. It's like, when have we seen this team, win, I guess maybe consistently enough to make you think that they're going to win consistently enough down the stretch to be in the hosting conversation? Because what it really feels like, the talk that I hear is if we win enough, like let's say we win out. That's kind of the words that people use. Like, hey, if we win out, can we host? Well, what have they shown you to make you think they're going to win out? It's been very up and down, and you've heard the coaches talk about this too. Just how they just have got to play with more consistency. But all of that is to say, Kendall Rogers thinks Arkansas still has a chance. I think if they have a chance, I think it's a very slight chance because I go back to the RPI and. It has not improved a whole lot. I don't think it improved at all by beating Ole Miss, which was kind of surprising to me.
Well, you know how happy I was to hear him say that, because you remember Monday, I was telling you, I still thought I was glass half full.
He has not returned my text all week because he was upset with me. It's not true. But.
When I heard him say that, I was thinking of you because you just totally shot me down on Monday.
I did.
I just feel like if we can. We don't have to sweep. Let's win the series. Let's win this series, win next series. Maybe a game or two in Hoover. Next thing you know, we've got 17, 18 wins. I just think that puts us in a good spot.
Kendall and I were talking about this, the number of quad one wins that Arkansas has. Like, to me, if you look at Arkansas, that's the number that really stands out to me, is the fact that they played, 21? Where's the number here? They played 21 quad one games, so that's more quad one games than most teams have played. And there's only 6 teams that have won more quad one games than Arkansas. Florida's won 15. A handful of other teams have won 13 and 12. So 11 quad one wins. That's the number that I think, and that goes up if you beat OU. I think it goes up if they beat Kentucky because Kentucky's got a high enough RPI and it'll be a road game. And then you got an opportunity to get some quad one wins in Hoover. So let's say they go 2-1 the next 2 weekends and they win a game or 2 in Hoover. That gives you at that point 16 to 17 quad one wins. That's a really strong resume, I feel like. And all of this is, this is not me saying that I don't think Arkansas deserves to host a regional. What I've been saying is based on the RPI, and I know how big the RPI has been leaned upon by the selection committee in the past few years. Like last year, nobody under a 19 RPI got to host a regional. And so that's the deal. Is I just don't know where the RPI rises up into that 19-20 range that I feel like really would give them a strong shot. But it doesn't mean I don't think, you look at Arkansas and you look at Ole Miss, okay? Are you telling me Ole Miss is a better team than Arkansas? They could have won the series here. Obviously, if Christian Turner doesn't have the big swing, who knows, maybe they win 2-1. But, Arkansas and Ole Miss, they have the exact same record. Arkansas is 1 game better in the SEC. Now, that's not necessarily an apples-to-apples comparison because the SEC is too darn big now and nobody plays the same teams necessarily. Arkansas's got 11 quad one wins in 21 chances. Ole Miss has 11 quad wins in 25 chances. Really what sets them apart right now, Bubba, is that Arkansas's strength of schedule, and it continues to improve. It's 18th. Ole Miss's strength of schedule is number 4 nationally. And so, but like, why is Ole Miss being considered a regional host up until this last week, and Arkansas is not? It's because of the RPI, and it's just, I think it's a little bit of a broken system, but it's what we have right now.
Well, what about that DSR system, the Diamond Sports Rating?
It's supposed to be. It's
are they implementing that this year?
It is supposed to be used this year as a metric. Now,
but they'll combine that with RPI.
How heavily it's weighed, I don't know. I think the point is that they're supposed to use RPI, DSR, which is the Diamond Sports Rating, and KPI, which I forget what KPI stands for, but it's a variation of RPI. And so they're supposed to use all 3 of those metrics to come up with who their regional hosts are, how they seed them, and then how they seed the number 2 seeds too, because that's going to have some bearing on who goes where in the regionals.
I thought it was interesting what Kendall said about if you get enough of the quad 1 wins, then they don't look at your losses.
Your quad 4 losses.
Yeah, your quad 4 losses like Stetson, UTA. They don't even – they overlook that, which was surprising to me because I was afraid that was going to really drag us down.
But it's dragging the RPI down.
Yeah.
Like, that's why the RPI is so low, because they had those 3 quad 4 losses. If that's only 1, then their RPI probably now is like top 15 to 18 would be my guess.
Yeah.
But like, just 2 of those losses can have such a drain on your overall RPI, that it can really affect you. And I was telling you the other day, like, just to put a perspective on the number of quad 4 losses they've had, between 2021 and 2025, they had 4 total quad 4 losses. 21 team didn't have any quad 4 losses, and then 22 through 25, each of those teams had 1. Arkansas has 3 this year. And that's, I think that's why you're seeing such a big effect on the RPI.
Yeah. But didn't he also say that with the DSR system, you don't get penalized? Because when we came in, we thought Stetson was a good team. Well, they haven't really done much since they left Fayetteville.
They haven't been good in the ASUN at all.
Yeah. So, but he said that didn't drag you down.
No.
You didn't get penalized.
I think it's more based on what they are at that time that you play them, not necessarily what they go on and do. Because, and I don't know what's happened at Stetson, but, let's say he used Oregon State as an example yesterday. Let's say you beat Oregon State early in the season. Well, that's a big win. But now Oregon State doesn't have Dax Whitney, who's so good for them and one of the best pitchers in the country. Well, that totally changes what they, are now versus what they were 6 weeks ago. And I think that's what the DSR tries to take into account.
Well, hopefully so. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. We didn't need not worry about that. Just go out and win the series. And go to Kentucky. Kentucky worries me more than OU does, just because it's hard to play at Kentucky, I think. I don't know our record. I didn't go back and look at our record, but I know they recruit players to play on that turf, just like OU does. And I think it's harder to win at Kentucky. I think we'll do well against OU.
Counterpoint at Kentucky is Arkansas. They've got some pretty athletic guys too.
Yeah.
And I could see where a guy like a Damian Ruiz and a guy like a TJ Pompey, they get on base, or heck, remember Casey Martin had the inside the park home run up there?
Yeah.
Was it 7 years ago? If Ruiz puts one in the gap, it could easily be a triple there. It could maybe be an inside the park home run, and he's not the only player that I think has that type of potential on the team. Christian Turner, is he going to play? He's a type that he's got the speed on the bases. So I feel like Arkansas's got a team that could go up there and maybe have some success on that type of surface too.
But how many teams do you think are faster than us? I mean, look at our guys.
That's a good question.
Ruiz,
I don't know.
Pompey. You got Christian Turner. You got Souza, Micah New, Helfrich. Those dudes are all fast, and then Kozel's not slow. That's a fast team. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we got a lot of speed. I'd line those guys up with just about anybody.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes this weekend. How do you think Christian Turner fits into the plans? Because to me, he gets the big hit last Sunday, and I just think he gets into the lineup somehow. Especially, they throw quite a few right-handers, right? I mean, so that's a left-handed at bat that you could possibly get in there. New struggled on Sunday. It makes me wonder, maybe do you take him out and play the matchups? Maybe put Christian Turner in as a left-handed at bat. Figure out it's Turner your center fielder, Ruiz your center fielder. Do you swap them? Do you do some stuff like that? I feel like Turner with that home run, I think he probably, and it's not just the home run, it's the whole at bat.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's probably going to have a chance to, or an opportunity this weekend to play.
Yeah, you just said it, the whole at bat. I think if he goes up there and swings at a first pitch, hits it over the fence, we're like, yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, good pinch hit. But the way he did it, you're right, I think really stands out. And typically, you look at DVH, he'll reward a guy for an at bat like that and give him a start. So, he might find that right matchup and you might see him out there. But, boy, you hate to think of Mike Anu not being out there. I love Mike Anu. I mean, he's so good in the outfield. He's one swing away from hitting a bomb or hitting a ball in the gap. Man, it's tough to not put him out there. But you might see – you could see that and see Micah coming off the bench late in the game.
Playing the matchups. I feel like they've done that a lot this year.
Yeah.
Playing the splits. Right-hander, maybe you pack the lineup with lefties, vice versa. I think Turner, though, and it's going to be a really cool moment, I think, this weekend whenever he comes up to the plate.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and I don't know why this sticks with me, but when James McCann hit a walk-off home run to beat LSU in 2011, his next at bat the next day, when LSU they played LSU in the finale on a Sunday, and his walk-up song, I still remember it was Hightower by Cutlass or Strong Tower, and that first note of that song hits, and I mean the place just went nuts. It was kind of like watching wrestling back in the old days, and the theme song comes on, and there's this pop in the arena. It was kind of the same thing with James when he came up to the plate, and I think it's going to be kind of a similar deal. With Christian Turner, whenever he gets his next at bat at Baum, there's going to be a real neat ovation for him. Although I cannot tell you what his walk-up song is, I have no idea.
I don't either. Are you a wrestling fan?
When I was in 5th grade, I liked it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's your dude?
Oh, probably Bill Goldberg.
Yeah. See,
that's probably the guy.
Don't know. I was expecting a bigger name than that. I didn't know Bill Goldberg.
You don't know who Bill Goldberg is?
I have no idea.
You're serious?
I'm serious.
Oh, gosh. Man, we're going to have to have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation.
Must not have got that channel.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right. When Christian Turner comes up, I think there's going to be a loud ovation. They're going to show him their appreciation.
Yeah. You know his walk-up song is?
I have no idea. Yeah, I can't hear through the headset. So what I'll do every once in a while, when I really want to hear the crowd, I'll take this off this here because I love hearing the crowd. We have a crowd mic, but it's hard to hear through it. You don't hear a ton, so I love to do it. So every once in a while, I like some of the pitchers that come in that have the hard rock.
Well, you're gonna like Christian Turner. I just looked up his walk-up song. It's Def Leppard.
Oh,
yeah, that's right up your alley.
Which
pour some sugar on me.
Oh, see, that's good.
Yeah,
I'll have to
He's
listen
got
to
good
that.
taste in music.
Yeah,
he's got parents who raised him right. Right.
That's right. So
speaking of which, I had a conversation this week with his dad, and I wrote a story. I talked to his dad, David, and I spoke to his high school baseball coach, Glenn Maynor, who was also Peyton Stovall's high school coach. He's been a high school coach at Houghton for 32 years. Won his 700th game there earlier this year, which is a really cool. I mean, think about the longevity you got to have to win 700 high school games. When the seasons are shorter, you're dealing, I think, more with weather in the high school season, and because fields and everything, and so that's pretty neat. So I talked to his dad, his coach, and then I talked to Peyton Stovall, and I don't know what I think I go into stories not really knowing where they're going to go. And I didn't know where this one was going to go. I ended up writing this kind of whole profile of Houghton, Louisiana, and how, you've had Peyton Stovall here and you had Christian Turner here. But what I thought was really neat was the connection between the two families. The way they told me, they live less than a quarter of a mile away from each other. Peyton and Christian Turner's older brother are best friends. Christian Turner and Peyton Stovall's younger brother are best friends. It's one of these deals where they walk to each other's house. They don't knock. They have the garage door codes. They go in. They don't ask if they can have food. They just grab something out of the fridge, grab something out of the pantry. It was just kind of a neat deal. And then you hear Peyton and the Turners talk about Peyton's influence on Christian being at Arkansas in the first place, that was really neat to me. Christian, his dad told me, he said that, Peyton came and had a conversation with him one time and told him that he ought to send Christian to an Arkansas prospect camp. Well, David Turner said, I'll be the first to tell you that I told him he's not an SEC caliber player. And Peyton told me, he said, I used, maybe some colorful language to say, I hit with him, you don't. Right. I know what an SEC player looks like, and he's won. Yeah. Really neat story. I had a lot of fun writing that, and just kind of, again, you knew that there was the Houghton connection between Peyton Stovall and Christian Turner. I did not realize it was as deep and as close as it was.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. You'd be proud of me. I read the article. I thought it was cool. And I think the coach said he started to get up and leave.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Yeah. He started getting
if
leaving
he
and
drives,
he pinch ran.
If he's here for 2 days, because he said he drove up Friday night. He couldn't get here in time for the Friday night game. But he's here all day Saturday, and he's here, say, for like 6 or 7 innings on Sunday. And he gets in the car, and he's at West Fork, and he's listening to the game. And he's like, oh my God.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Oh, he would be sick.
Just sick you'd be.
But, I think that's so cool that he drove up here to watch him play. Yeah. I think that's really cool. That's a coach that cares about his players.
He told me he went to Chapel Hill to watch the Super Regional to see Peyton play his freshman year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's awesome. See, those kind of guys, I mean, I hope there's still a lot of them out there. I don't know. But, I mean, you got to care about your players. Mm-hmm. So I've got guys that played for me years ago that I'm still in touch with all the time. Mm-hmm. Some of them now have families, and it's crazy. Some of them now have families and are now coming to the facility with their kids. Yeah, so I think I'm getting old, but it's just cool. But I think that's a really neat thing that he came to watch, and I'm so glad he stayed, and I'm glad his family was here to see that too.
David Turner told me that he told Christian. They had a long drive to go Sunday night. He's the AD at Houghton High School, so he had to be there Monday morning. He told me, though, it's after 5 o'clock. They finally get a chance to see Christian after all the the celebration has died down a little bit, and he said, time not an issue. You pick the place. We're going to take you to dinner to go have a celebration deal. He picked Whataburger. And if that didn't tell you, like I think that's a great reminder that you're dealing with, I mean, they're not kids anymore, but you're still dealing with really young people that in a 19-year-old's mind, hey, you could go to, I don't know where. You want to go to Whataburger to celebrate. I thought that was kind of a neat telling deal.
No, I thought that was awesome. I'm sure his mom and dad were not happy with it, but I think that's really cool.
Well, maybe they were. Maybe it saved them $70.
Yeah, true. Maybe they're looking forward to a big
buy
steak,
half a tank of gas right now. A reminder.
No, I think that's cool.
Our baseball podcast sponsored by H&R Tire and Auto. They're a local shop that's been family-owned for 3 generations. They built their reputation on taking care of customers the right way. That kind of longevity doesn't happen by accident at H&R Tire and Auto. Okay, so while we have been talking here, Dave Van Horn has been on Phil Elson's show. And he says that Arkansas, and this isn't a surprise, he kind of hinted at this Monday at the Swatters Club. He said they'll start Hunter Dietz on Friday night against OU. They'll go TBA Saturday and Sunday. He said if they have to use Gackle to win Game 1, they will. If they don't, there's a good chance that he'll start either Game 2 or Game 3. And the Game 2 thing might surprise people to hear that because Cole Gibbler's been starting Game 2. He mentioned Monday over at Swatters Club that there's a chance Cole Gibbler goes back into the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, it's about getting outs. Mm-hmm. It's really what it is. And I think Dave, at this point of the year, well, he does it pretty much year-round. Mm-hmm. If he sees a win, he's going to go after it on Friday and then deal with Saturday when Saturday comes. I like it.
Yeah, it's not just outs, it's flexibility. And when you go TBA on those last 2 days, and we talked about, I think you and I were talking about this the other day, like I don't know if you, let's say you announce Gabe Gackle as your Game 2 starter, I don't know if that gives you any flexibility to bring him in Game 1, or if you're like, are you handcuffed to that? I don't know exactly how that works, but you go TBA, it just gives you a lot of flexibility because basically you can do whatever you want to after Hunter Dietz, without any, fear of repercussion from having announced somebody beforehand.
It's crazy that we don't know the answer to that because, we've been around the game quite a while.
It's a great mystery.
Yeah. Surprised you don't know that. Kendall
I
Rogers
don't know
would
that.
know that.
Well, you're giving me a hard time about Kendall today, aren't you? Yeah.
No, I think I don't think it locks you in, but maybe it does. Maybe if you announce him as a starter, he's got to start. But I just think that I don't know. It would seem odd to me that you would have to, but in today's game. But yeah, I don't know.
I sent Bubba a text earlier. Can I tell people what you texted me? I said I'm hitting every red light in town, and I'm trying to get there. And by the way, the red lights that I have to hit are the ones on Weddington,
Yeah,
and those are not your normal red lights. This is not your 30-second red light. This is like a minute and a half to 2 minutes every freaking red light. It's crazy the way they've got that set up over there on the west side of the interstate. And so it's, those accumulate pretty fast. Minute and a half, minute and a half, minute and a half. And all of a sudden that drive that you thought was going to take you 15 minutes to the office, it just took you 25. And so I cut it too close, and Bubba said Kendall Rogers would have left earlier.
well, just saying.
Yeah.
I could have used DVH.
But who
DVH
got
would
into
have
the
left.
office first this morning?
I don't know how you got by me. I was actually sitting in the parking lot. I was going to give you a hard time when you pulled in, and I never saw you pull in. So yeah, you beat me.
I just went right by you. So Dietz is going to start. Going back to how we don't know if Arkansas is going to play another series here or any other games here after OU. This might be the last time that you get to see Hunter Dietz pitch on the home mound. I thought it was really interesting. It was a really insightful comment the other day from Van Horn at Swatters Club. He said that Hunter Dietz, if he was healthy, and I'm paraphrasing, would be one of the greatest pitchers in program history in terms of the stats that he was able to put up. And, he's shown that this year. I mean, like I don't know if this is an Isaiah Campbell 2019 or a Hagen Smith 2024 type season, but this has been a really solid, strong campaign that he's put together. And I've been so impressed by him, Bubba, over the last 5 weeks when they've had him pitch against the other team's number one guy. He has been up to the challenge and pitched at least equal, if not better, than the pitcher he's gone against.
Yeah, and if you look at his numbers, I mean, I think of a couple. I think of his first start at Globe Life, where I thought he got squeezed a little bit. I thought he threw some strikes that weren't, or that they didn't get called. I think about the Missouri game, a couple of wind-blown home runs. I look at some of those runs, and you still look at his numbers. They're really good. But as far as, stuff, I mean, his stuff's elite. I mean, the way he's got that high release point, pitches downhill, the way he uses the fastball and the cutter, the way he changes speeds on the cutter. Then, just when you think you figured out those two pitches, he can drop an 80-mile-an-hour curveball on you. I mean, it's just elite stuff. And I agree. I wish we could have seen him for 3 years.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those great what might have been.
Yeah.
And you think about last year, what if that team has Hunter Dietz, this version of Hunter Dietz?
Yeah.
What might have happened?
Yeah.
You never know. But the thing that has stood out to me about him the last probably 4 weeks, have you noticed? It's just been the solo home runs for the most part. Missouri had a 2-run home run because he hit a guy in the foot, and then the next guy hit a homer. But for the most part, Georgia hit 2 solo home runs against him. Alabama hit 2 solo homers against him. Ole Miss got him once for a solo homer. Missouri hit a solo homer before the 2-run shot. So every pitcher's going to give up home runs. That's not what I'm not saying that it's concerning that he's giving up home runs, because I really don't think it is, because I think you would trade a solo home run for the other 6 or 7 innings that he's giving you. But it's what stands out to me is there's hardly ever anybody on base.
Yeah.
And I think that's what those solo home runs really illustrate.
Yeah, I mean, solo home run ain't going to beat you. It's the 2 walks or the walk, the base hit, then the solo home run. A number that surprised me, though, is the league's hitting conference only. The league's hitting 225 off of him. I didn't think they were hitting that high. It didn't seem like he's – I thought that number should be lower.
Florida was a little bit of a tough outing for him. I think wasn't Mississippi State a little bit of a tough outing?
They got a few hits.
Yeah, so I wonder how much of that happened I would be interested to see a breakdown of what that was, say, the first 3 weeks of the season versus what it's been the last 5. I would assume, or I'd venture to guess the last 5 has probably been quite a bit lower. Although I will say he gave up 7 hits against Missouri. He was really good that night of working around base runners.
Yeah. And look, a lot of his hits are soft contact. They're cutters where they jam a righty or a lefty cues it off the end of the bat. I mean, a lot of. If you look at his hard hits, and I'm sure they have a number for it, but I don't feel like he gives up a lot of hard hit balls. Where some of the other guys, there's some hard outs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at Hunter Dietz, he doesn't give up a lot of hard outs.
What about Gackle? What did you see from him last week? You've had several days now to digest what you saw from him against Ole Miss. How did you feel that went if they do use him in a starting role?
No, I thought his outing was better than his pitching line showed. I thought he threw good. I thought he threw well. I thought he had some good pitches. Breaking ball was good. Made a couple mistakes, but I thought he was way better. So that's a good sign that he's trending in the right direction.
Do you like Gibbler more in a bullpen role or in a starter role?
I think he's got better every start.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think
he had the rough outing against Ole Miss the other day, but
that was self-inflicted.
Mm-hmm.
If he covers the bag,
yeah, that's right.
If he gets over right there, I don't think any of that happens.
Yeah, and and people will take this as an excuse, but that's a routine fly ball.
Mm-hmm.
You think about how that inning goes different. If he covers the bag, that's 2 outs. And then let's say he throws that pitch and the wind's not blowing out, 15 miles an hour, whatever it was, to that part of the ballpark. That's a routine fly ball.
Yeah.
Maybe you give up 1 run and you strand the bases loaded, or you strand 2 on. It is what it is, and he's got to live with the results of it. But I do think there have been a couple of times with him this year where he's had an inning that hasn't gone well. I think this happened against Georgia too, didn't it? Where like wasn't there an early inning where things kind of went haywire on him, and then he's done a good job of just kind of battling and not letting it spiral into the. I guess he gave up 7 runs against Ole Miss, but for the most part, like he hasn't let it spiral into that. That outing that is say 6 runs and 2 1/3 or something like that. He's been fairly good at that.
Well, think about his outing. If he doesn't get it together, they've got to go to the bullpen in the second inning. That changes that whole weekend. We probably don't win the next day. We probably don't win Sunday if he doesn't go on out and throw 95 pitches. So he was able to get it back together, throw some quality innings, minimize the run, and more importantly, save the bullpen. I thought that was huge what he did. A lot of guys can't bounce back like that. So I just think I like him. I like his mound presence. Like a lot of times, Matt, I'll either look at the broadcast up here on the TV, or I'll just get the binoculars out. I want to look at a guy's face. You can see so much. I say all the time, you can look at a hitter in the eyes and tell if he's a hitter. And I look at some of these guys on the mound, and you can tell, they got it under control. I looked at Hunter Elliott, and I mean his face was all red. He was flustered. I mean he was very frustrated, and you could see it in his body language and on his face. And Cole Gibbler, I don't see it. He knows he's good.
It'll be interesting to see how they use him this week, because I think he's been better out of the bullpen, and I also think that there's a value in being able to potentially use him 2 times.
I agree. So who do you leave Gackle as a starter and say go?
It seems to me like that's probably the most likely outcome, and that's just based on what Van Horn said at Swatters Club on Monday.
Yeah.
It almost felt like last week was a test for Gackle. Can you start? Okay, we've seen, we saw what the starting stuff was for however many weeks. Went to the bullpen, got some things corrected. It felt like, got some confidence. Can you show us that you can start? I know what the splits have said for Gackle, starting versus relieving, but I feel like they have got to. If this team is going to reach its potential, I feel like they're going to have Gabe Gackle pitching well as a starter. I don't know if he can do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they're going to reach their potential, they need to have Dietz and Gackle pitching to their potential as starters, because that's how this team was constructed to work.
I think he's going in the right direction. I thought he looked good against Ole Miss. Thought he did a good enough job. I think what we need to do is at least one game score a whole bunch of runs. Whichever game it is, we need one game where we can score a bunch of runs and kind of relax and save pitching for the games that are close, whether it be, I'd prefer it not be Friday night because I feel like Dietz is going to shut them out or do a good job, not shut them out.
Well, also, whenever you score those runs on Friday, they typically don't come in bunches on Saturday
exactly.
and Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of the law of averages a
So
little bit.
if we can go Saturday or Sunday, if one of those games we can score, and if you look at OU's pitching, you know, they've had some days where they've given it up. Their starters have.
Well, their Friday guy was L.J. Mercurius, and I guess last week was when they made the change, and they brought him out of the bullpen on Friday night. I mean, his ERA is 8.18 with a 1.64 WHIP, and that's overall. Conference, it may even be what's his conference ERA?
His conference ERA is 8.18.
I guess I'm looking at conference.
Yeah,
okay.
33 innings, 42 hits. The league's hitting 302 against him in conference. That's a big number. That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Now, Caden Leon, I guess that's how you say his name, 6.06 ERA, 6 innings, 11 hits. League's hitting 193. Now, it's a smaller sample size, 16 innings, but, you know. But I'll tell you what, Marsalis did come in the third inning and threw 4 good innings last week against Florida. So
Skip Johnson's team is always going to be one that you think can pitch. I mean, this guy is really well respected as a pitching coach, and you know, I mean, wherever he's been, whether it be was it Kilgore? Was that the college that he was at in Texas? I think it might have been. It was he was at a Texas junior college. I know that, and then he was I think he was Augie Garrido's pitching coach for several years, maybe like the last 10 years that Augie was at Texas. And, you know, obviously he goes to OU. Like there's a real track record there of guys that he has, you know, either like at junior college. He sent Jess Todd to Arkansas. We know Jess Todd was pretty darn good, right? Yeah. You know, he was – I don't think there's some sort of connection there with Kershaw. I think Kershaw might have been committed to play for him, but then ended up going pro, but has gone back and worked with him quite a bit. So, I mean, that's Clayton Kershaw. So that tells you the kind of reputation that this guy has as a pitching coach. And, you know, I mean, the expectation is that OU, they're going to be able to bring a lot of quality arms out.
Yeah, I think so. You know, what I've been looking at, though, Matt, and it's hard. I haven't had a chance to really study the numbers, but when you look at the offensive numbers, they're hitting 262 as a team. We're 239. That's in conference. You know, they've struck out fewer times than us. They've drawn more walks than us. We've scored 26 more runs. They've scored 120 runs. We've scored 146. So that's 26 more runs. It's weird. You look at now we have hit more home runs. They've hit 24. We hit 37. So we've hit 13 more home runs. Maybe that's where the run totals come. But if you look at the numbers, it's like, how do we score that many more runs than them? They've stolen more bases than us.
Do you think it's the
They've
South
struck
Carolina
out
game?
fewer times. They've walked more. I mean, you know what? Yeah, it could be.
Well, that's one of those games where I said it after they played him. Like you eat statistically off of that game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that could have something to do with it. But
I haven't
you
looked
think
at
at
OU's
some
schedule enough
point,
to know whether or not they've had that type of game offensively.
I don't see them as the type of kind of like Kendall said. They're not the kind of team that's going to throw a big number up on you. I mean, 24 home runs. OPS, they're 7.66. We're 7.65. I mean, it's close there. I mean, it's just somewhere in there we're scoring a lot more runs. South Carolina could be some of it, but yeah. But I don't know. I just feel good about the weekend. I don't know what their rotation is going to be. If Cameron Johnson's going to be back, supposedly he's going to be okay.
That's from the sounds of it. They said he was going to. Tom Murphy again. He spoke to him, and you can read this at our website wholehogsports.com. He spoke to Skip Johnson this week, and Skip said that Johnson. There's a lot of guys with the last name Johnson at OU. You got Skip, you got Cameron. They got a guy Camden Johnson who's a pretty good position player for him. So Cameron Johnson, who is their I think he's a lefty pitcher. He left the game against Florida last week after the first inning, and from the sounds of it, it was just kind of precautionary, kind of like what happened with Dylan Vigue when Georgia played here when he left after 2 innings. So it sounds like it's precautionary. They said that he was going to throw a bullpen on Wednesday night, and that would tell them, I guess, what his availability was going to be like for the weekend. But Skip Johnson made it sound optimistic that he was going to be able to pitch this weekend. We're not going to have the starting pitching matchups till later this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I thought Skip Johnson almost threw him under the bus, saying that he probably could have still pitched. I think is the way he worded that. Whatever Tom's article is, it was something to the effect of he thought he could have still gone out there and pitched, but maybe I'm misquoting him. So I'm sorry, Skip, if I'm doing that.
Hey, did you have much interaction with Todd Butler?
Yeah, a lot. We still text today.
So for those who don't know, Todd Butler was at Arkansas for 8 years. He's in his second year as an assistant coach at OU.
Yeah, we actually had some really good hitting talks back in the day. I like Todd a lot. He's a good guy, good hitting guy. So yeah, he used to listen to some of the broadcasts because every once in a while I'd say something and he'd text me. So it's pretty cool. But looking forward to seeing him.
I think at least one of his kids went to the U of A. Maybe both of his daughters went to the U of A. So I mean, I know that he's stayed in touch with a lot of people here, and including people at the the baseball building. Like they remain close and in touch. And it wasn't like he left Arkansas to be a head coach at Wichita State. That was a great opportunity for him. Didn't go great there at Wichita State. Van Horn said the other day he didn't think that Todd got a fair shake at Wichita State because Gene Stevenson was leaving. That's who you're replacing.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine whoever comes in and replaces Dave Van Horn. That's going to be big shoes that you're filling. And Gene Stevenson at Wichita State. I mean, like when you think about Wichita State baseball, that is Wichita State baseball. And so Dave said that he had to keep the pitching coach. Basically he wasn't really put in an environment to be successful. Left there, went to Missouri. Now he's at OU. Boy, I think about the teams that he helped recruit though, and some of the players that he helped bring in. Like Zach Cox and James McCann, and I think he was the lead on Andrew Benintendi to get Andrew Benintendi to come to Fayetteville. So now I don't think he ever coached him.
Don't forget about Brett Eibner.
Brett Eibner. I mean, like a lot of really good players. Not to mention, he was their recruiting coordinator. Think about the pitchers who came in during that era. Maybe some diamonds in the rough that they found. Like the Dallas Keuchels of the world and Drew Smiley. I mean, those were really good years when it comes to prospects that Arkansas was able to bring in here.
Yeah, you're right. So it'll be good. It'll be fun to see him. I haven't got to talk to him in a while. We haven't actually texted in a while, but there for a while we stayed in contact quite a bit. So
it would be neat if Arkansas, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did this, but if they showed him on the video board and just kind of a neat little in between inning, hey, will you welcome back Todd Butler? I think that'd be kind of a neat
that would
neat
be
deal
cool.
Because again, a lot of the success, a lot of the groundwork that Van Horn had or that he laid in Fayetteville was a result of Todd Butler coming in year 4, I think, when Dave was the head coach. So, and they had some really good runs there. And obviously good runs even after Todd left because of some of the players like Andrew Benintendi, who he helped recruit or was the lead recruiter on.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
So, but he's not their offensive coach. Reggie Willits is their offensive coach, former big league guy, and he's the one who's kind of the mastermind behind this whole chaotic offense that they run.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I wonder how Todd relates to, because he's more of, look at some of the guys he recruited back in the day. It was more, a lot of your power guys.
Yeah.
Well, he just brought in good hitters.
Yeah.
Not that OU doesn't have good hitters now. I just think I feel like Todd brought in a different type of player.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I asked Van Horn the other day. I said, I don't remember him being the type that's ever had like a running game like this. And he said, well, he's not in charge of the offense. Yeah. I think he's more in charge of the recruiting.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, what do you think about Arkansas and OU playing? Like they haven't played a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of surprising. I remember when Sonny Galloway was the head coach there. It seemed like every other year, Arkansas and OU, or every year they would schedule a midweek game. Arkansas would always end up going to Norman. OU would never end up coming over here. It might rain. Like there were a couple of times where it felt like they kind of, I don't know if weaseled out, but where they didn't live up to their end of the contract.
Well, if I had to choose a stadium to play in, I'd play at our stadium versus
Haven't
theirs.
they done some renovations over there at OU, or maybe some are planned?
Yeah, I think they got some stuff planned. I don't know what all they've done. I know they had a lot of stuff planned when they went into the SEC. We usually go over there and play a showcase event every year, and it's not a big place at all.
Well, it's tough
doesn't
because
hold.
like they've got a softball stadium right next to it that is like I mean it is way better facility
Yeah.
than baseball. I know softball's huge at Oklahoma, but that's I don't know that's always just kind of been, and of course they've just built that softball stadium within the last 2 or 3 years, but it's just weird how you got a softball stadium right here and your baseball stadium. If it wasn't for Missouri, it would probably be the worst stadium in the league based on what I remember it being before they came into the league. And it's been a long time since I've been over there.
Yeah, it's just small. I mean, it's turf, and for a showcase event, it's my guys love going over there. But you think about that being an SEC stadium, I don't know what it holds. Can't hold more than 5,000.
I'd say even less than that. Maybe more like closer to 3.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it's nice little. It's a fun place to play.
I think it'll be neat for Arkansas, not just in baseball, but in the other sports too. Like when the football teams start playing. I know Arkansas and Oklahoma football are worlds apart in terms of success and maybe even talent. But like I think that I grew up in a town in Arkansas, but in a town near the border where our hometown radio station was an affiliate of the Sooner Sports Network. And so, like, there's always been kind of, I guess maybe I come from this vantage point where, for me, there's always been this Arkansas OU crossover. And I think it's kind of neat to see them play this weekend. And I told you this the other day, it's graduation weekend. There are going to be a lot of people who are in the ballpark, coming in from out of town. But there's going to be a lot of Oklahoma people, I think, in this area who it's like, hey, this is an easy chance to see the Sooners. Like, I remember when Baker Mayfield won the Burlsworth Trophy for the first time. The number of Oklahoma people who were in that banquet room was astounding to me.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, hey, they can drive over from Siloam Springs and see Baker Mayfield, a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive. It makes sense. And so I'd say all that to say I think that it's going to really create a high ticket demand, at least for that first game Friday night and probably for Saturday's game too.
Yeah, I know I've already been contacted by a few people that live in Northwest Arkansas about tickets that are OU fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something about it. I remember back in the day, like the Brian
Bosworth.
Bosworth, yeah. Back in those days where it was like OU football was like the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool back then. So, yeah.
Well, their baseball team's they've gotten pretty good under Skip Johnson. Think about 2022. This was almost the national championship series.
Yeah.
If Arkansas gets past Ole Miss, they're playing Oklahoma and Omaha. So OU baseball, they've done good. It'll be interesting to see how this goes this weekend. It's a big series for Arkansas, a big series for Oklahoma too.
Yeah.
I think they've still got some. You talk about wanting to host. They've still got a chance maybe to host if they finish strong against Arkansas, and then they play Tennessee next week, which I think is interesting. They're playing Tennessee at the Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. They're not going to play them on campus. They're going to play them over in Oklahoma City. I guess maybe to get more revenue, more people can get in the ballpark. I don't know exactly what went into that decision, but they've got I'm sure they look at this and say, hey, we got a pathway here too to maybe get a regional as well. So you got 2 hungry teams. They're going to play this weekend, and I think it'll make for a really fun series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I wish we played them more, though. I wish we didn't have this 16-team mess. I wish we had divisions and they were in our division.
Yes, I don't like I don't like and here's the thing that I don't think the conference probably ever thought about. Like, just because you have divisions doesn't mean you got to have 2 divisions. You can have 4 divisions.
That's
what
I'm
saying?
Say. Yeah.
Maybe you play OU. But let's throw out a hypothetical here. Maybe you have a division that's Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. What's stopping you from going to Austin and Austin coming here, and going to College Station and College Station coming here? Like, I think that there was some imagination that was lost in scheduling or in putting together the conference from a baseball standpoint after it went to 16 teams. And I don't like this 2-8 model they went to. I think they could have gone to a 5-5-5 model where you got 5 permanents and then you rotate the other 10 every other year. I think that would have been a lot better for baseball, but that's just me.
Can we keep Mizzou, though?
It helps,
for the
doesn't
win
it?
column.
It helps. It helps.
I
add
hope
up.
no,
It
I'm sure
helps.
no one from Missouri is watching this. So can we keep Mizzou? It's nice to have a few wins there.
Okay, so Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kentucky. There's your division right there. We'll call it the SEC North. All right, Bubba, appreciate you being in here. You can listen to Bubba tomorrow night on the Razorback Sports Network with Phil Elson. One more time, our baseball podcast brought to you by H&R Tire and Auto. They're proudly family-owned since 1976. Trusted across Northwest Arkansas, committed to keeping you safe on the road all season long. You can learn more or schedule service at hnrtireandauto.com. We'll be back with another show tomorrow. Hope to see you at our website, wholehogsports.com, where you can check out all